I'm Deborah Polayes. I am the Director of Undergraduate Studies, and I am also a teacher here doing biochemistry, microbiology, and 2 advanced microbiology, microbial genetics, and microbial diversity, some of my favorite subjects. Most of the time, somebody is really interested in microbes. They can either go environmental and worry about what's in the environment, such as using microbes for biodegradation of all those chemicals we put out into the environment. Or they could be more classical and worry about diseases. But I would like to remember, and I say this in every single one of my classes, they're not all coronavirus. There are really good things out there. So please realize that 99% of them are good. We only ever remember, it's like all news. I say this in every one of my class. You only hear the bad news. You never hear the good news. So I try to teach the good news. Okay, so I became inspired to do micro. I'm older than most of you, so we won't say how old, but I had my 10th grade biology bomber inspired me and told me that women could be scientists, which was absolutely fabulous. And I went off to college and I studied biology. Like many of you, I was pre-med until my advisor said, "You don't like taking any of the pre-med courses. You keep on taking botany classes." And I went, "Oh yeah, I really like plants much better than animals." And he said, "So maybe you should go on with your plants." And I said, "But I really love biochemistry." He said, "Do plant biochemistry." So I went off and did plant biochemistry. But after spending almost 5 years on plants that grow really, really slowly and realizing my attention span wasn't there, I went to microbes because they divide overnight. Sorry, I have a short attention span and I love my microbes. But I took a circuitous route. I did not go to academia immediately. I went off to industry. For quite a number of years, I was an industrial scientist, and I loved doing industrial science work. I was in biotech, so I worked with enzymes from microbial organisms, so transcription, translation, all these really great systems that you can do in microbes. But at some point, I realized knowing what I needed them to know to work in a laboratory. And my mother always told me that you can't complain unless you're willing to fix something. So I came back to academia to teach you guys the things I need you to know. And a lot of it is very, very basic, but we need you in industry to understand some really simple concepts and be able to recognize what you need to do. Well, I found the most important thing when I was an undergraduate is find that friend. I had a lab buddy, because remember our lectures are big, but your labs are small, and you could find your lab buddy. I had a best friend who I took almost all my classes with my whole way through. We learned to study together. It was really a lot of fun to have my buddy. So find your buddy. Go get off your cell phone and go introduce yourself to somebody sitting next to you. It's really a lot of fun. And take a variety of classes, because I have a lot of students who always ask me, "How did you know you wanted to be a plant biochemist?" Well, I realized I loved plant courses more than animal courses. And I realized I really loved biochemistry. I took micro, I took biochemistry, I took a lot of different classes. Don't just pigeonhole yourself into saying, "I'm going to take this, 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 and that." There are some really fascinating classes out there. Plus, I was a history minor because I really liked history. Find that other subject. It keeps you sane to not always be with scientists. We're a little weird group of people. Find the other people out there. They're sort of nice too. I always say, don't stress yourself out so much. It amazes me that everybody is so worried about what they have to complete in the 4 years, and they have to get it done, and they have to do this, and they have to check off their boxes. Do have some passion in what you're doing as opposed to checking off boxes, but also realize that you really are young and you're going to be living for a lot more years than when I was going through school, so you don't have to rush it. It's okay. Because the other thing I guess I would say if this is a financial burden anyway, there is nothing wrong with working and not having debt and taking a year or so longer to get through so that you come through at a good pace for you.
Yeah.
You know, I would rather have you work 3 jobs in the summer and go crazy doing that than having to work much during the semester. It is really hard. And I got into doing research because I started out in a laboratory doing dishwashing, because that's how I paid for my college degree. I washed test tubes a lot of times. And I was also that nosy bud who would go over to the postdoc or the graduate student and say, "What are you doing? Can I help?" And finally, one of them went, "Dr. Purvis, can you just get her a project because she's driving us crazy?" And I got to spend 3 years in a lab that I absolutely adored. So it's okay to don't check the boxes, I fell in love with working in a laboratory. Do that passionate thing. Well, it was really interesting. I ran into somebody over the years and we got to talking and he said, "Oh, I got my degree at Mason." And I went, "In what?" He goes, "Oh, biology." And I went, "Hi, what do you do for a living?" He goes, "I'm a lawyer." I went, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, but that biology degree served me so well. Never been able to read all those textbooks, those law books, if I had not learned my critical thinking from biology." I was like, "Oh, that's amazing." So he had his biology degree. He worked in the lab for a couple of years and went, "No, this isn't for me," and went off to law school. So I thought that was a great choice. And also in my years in industry, everybody who worked for our company had a science degree, biology or chemistry. My marketing manager, my sales reps, everybody. And there were so many other things to do with that degree, because we could teach you the business, we can't teach you the science. It is really hard to work in science without knowing it. But they were doing the project management. They were doing so many interesting things. My graphic designer who was doing everything, he also had a science degree, but he was an artist. So there's all these combinations, because you need the science background to know the basics, and then you can go off to do anything, because we really do teach you how to think.
And then the world's your oyster.
Yep. Thinking and writing. So don't complain about those writing assignments we give you. I did one of my interviews for a reference recently. I said she wrote a fabulous paper, and they went, "Oh, that's really good. I heard the check mark go off on the box going, she can write." I go, "Oh, it was so beautifully written." And she wrote so that a layperson could understand. They went, "Perfect, thank you." Nothing besides biology. I tell students, and I had a good laugh the other day because I was doing a recommendation for something, and they said, "Well, what would you consider hard?" And I go, no, science is easy. Accounting is hard." And she went, "Oh, I'm an accountant." I went, "Oh, bless your heart. That is amazing. I can't do accounting." But I knew I could always do science because science came easy to me. So I can't imagine doing different science, but if I was getting my degree again, I would go into bioremediation. I really would want to use microbes to clean up the environment that we have screwed up so badly. I just think that would be my passion. I still am a biochemist, which means those are pathways, so I'm good. I haven't changed too much, but I really would do bioremediation. It makes so much more sense.